So today with my review, I'm taking a look back at episode 3 of The Mandalorian called The Sin, and this actually, upon reviewing it, is kind of the closing of the arc of the first 3 episodes. I see these first 3 episodes very much as an arc, and I very much think that this is a very satisfying ending to those 3 episodes. Of course, in this episode, Din brings Grogu to the client on Navarro, but just before we actually see that happen, we have, of course, the very cute moment, and this is the start of an ongoing storyline. It's a very cute little storyline, but it is a storyline that, recurs throughout the show, actually, and is going to be quite important with Grogu getting out of his crib, getting onto the control panel, and getting the little ball of the stick. It's so cute, and I love how, this starts that, because when you first see this episode, I mean, you just think, oh, cute kid, he wants a little thing, and, well, Din, of course, has not a toy, but it becomes so much more later on, and that's why these reviews actually give a little bit more insight into that, and I actually think this is the first episode out of the 3 that I've seen that actually holds up very well because of several reasons. I'll get more into it, of course, as I go on with it. Something that I also really enjoy is seeing Grogu's perspective on Navarro when they arrive and they go through the city. Previously, when we saw it with Din, it's a city in Star Wars, and it didn't really look all that scary, but having the camera down low in, Grogu's pram and have his perspective, all of a sudden there are things that look way more scarier than before. And I think it's a very nice perspective to see that, because of course we saw how Din went through it, and now Grogu as well. It's very different, but it's a very nice touch, I think. So upon delivering Grogu to the client, Din is paid an insane amount of Beskar as his reward, and that gives him a completely new set of armor. Like, honestly, it looks so much better when he has the new armor on. I think the first 3 episodes were very much meant to be like, okay, he is cool, he can do some stuff, but his armor is very wary. And then you get the upgrade, and it's like, this is so much better. This is what we all kind of wanted, and it looks so cool. Of course, he is warned about the fact that he'll draw many eyes. And yes, of course, the moment that you walk into any place with such shiny chrome armor, everyone is going to look at you like, holy crap, that's a big deal. And there will be some people who are going to be like, well, I want to take that armor from him. But, it's going to be difficult to take it from him if he's so well protected. But yeah, honestly, he looks awesome in it. Now, of course, when Din is getting the Beskar armor done, we actually get introduced a bit more to the Mandalorians than in the first episode. The first episode only showed us the armor. We saw the other Mandalorians there as well, but it was mainly focused on the armor. And this one, we actually get introduced to Paz Vizsla, which is a descendant of Pre-Vizsla, as we know from the Clone Wars. And once again, he's voiced by Jon Favreau. It is funny that Favreau was like, oh, I'm going to voice him again, even though I voiced his grandfather. I'm not entirely sure where Pre-Vizsla is in that hierarchy compared to Paz Vizsla, but it has to be like grandfather or something. So it's a bit weird. It's funny, though, because, hey, Jon Favreau is making the show, so he gets to call the shots. But, yeah, Paz Vizsla apparently is very reluctant, very hesitant to trust Din, and he is very much pushing towards him. They actually get into a fight, because Mandalorians always get into a fight that is very much like Mandalorians as we know them from the Clone Wars, because that's also something like I feel a little bit of a disconnect between these Mandalorians and the ones we know from the Clone Wars. And the explanation comes a bit more later in the show, when, of course, Bo-Katan is also introduced. But at this point, the fact that we see the Mandalorians fight, it's like, oh yeah, that happens all the time. Because I think also in Rebels, Sabine mentions it, that Mandalorians fight all the time. And it's like, why do you guys do this? You need to unite. They actually say it in this show, in this episode, like, their unity is in their numbers. Yeah, it should be. But, well, we now know what happened to them, but at the time of release of this episode, we didn't yet know what really happened to them and why they need to live in hiding. And I'll get more into that in a little bit, by the way. And of course, the episode introduces us to the very iconic
This is the way.
This is the way.
"This is the way." And with that, you need to go into the comments and type out "This is the way." I don't make the rules. That's just how it works. Now, this episode also does flashbacks just like the first episode, and now we get the reveal that it was actually the battle droids, the separatists, who were attacking Din when he was a kid. And we see super battle droids, and we see the super battle droids actually be intimidating, and I love that they were able to do that, because super battle droids are supposed to be intimidating. Actually, earlier this year, I did a full playthrough of the game Republic Commando, and in that, if you just go back and watch any of the footage of super battle droids popping up, they are scary as all hell. It's like, oh my fucking god, this is the biggest enemy that you can face, even though super battle droids aren't even close, but they are a bitch when you fight them. And I love how in this show they are also extremely intimidating when you see them. It's like, oh my god, they're gonna kill you. And that's the feeling that I also get in Republic Commando, even though, yeah, you can take them down, sure. But it's something that I very much miss in the movies, the Clone Wars TV show, that kind of stuff. Super battle droids are like wimps. I mean, just look at this scene in Revenge of the Sith. Anyway, so Din goes to Grief to get his new job, but he does ask about Grogu, like what will happen to him. And then when he wants to set off to the next planet, he then sees the missing ball, and he's like, okay, you know what, I'm going back for him, which is great visual storytelling, because none of this has any dialogue. It's just him looking, and you instantly realize what he's thinking. And with him putting the ship down, that is the biggest thing that gives it away. Like, yeah, he's going back for Grogu. And the sequence that follows is awesome. The way that he infiltrates the facility, goes after Grogu, it's pure badass. Like, the camera work is really good, the action choreography, it's all awesome. And to top it off, it has one of my favorite moments in The Mandalorian. However, when he exits the facility, all the bounty hunters and Grief Karga all come after him, and they're like, okay, yeah, no, you gotta give it up. He actually attempts a bit of a fight, but of course Din gets pinned down, and then we get Mandalorian's Ex Machina. Now, I will say, I don't really think it's much of an Ex Machina. For the people who are not familiar with the term, a Deus Ex Machina in a movie or a TV show, or maybe even a book or a comic or whatnot, is when the protagonist or a character is pinned down in a hopeless situation, they can't get out, and they need some outside help who miraculously saves them from the situation. Now, I don't really think it's much of an Ex Machina, considering that the Mandalorians were set up, and even more so because of what gets revealed later about the Mandalorians, because a couple of episodes after this one, at the end of the season, they go back to Navarro, and then it gets revealed by the armorer that a lot of the Mandalorians actually died in their retaliation to help Din in this scene, which is crazy to think of. And like, that is some real consequences for them, because they actually said at the beginning of the episode they had to hide for so long, they didn't want to reveal themselves. The moment that they reveal themselves, a lot of them get killed, which is like, what the fuck? That is insane that happened. Of course, we know that Paz Vizsla, like a few others, survived, of course the armor as well, but still, a lot of the Mandalorians died in this rescue attempt of Din. So Din is like, yeah, thank you for saving me, but what the fuck, guys? Can we not kill ourselves this quickly into our big reveal? Like, yeah, the Mandalorians are still here. Oh my god, it's insane that that gets revealed. But I do think it's good writing in terms of having real consequences for something as big as this. And then as they are flying off, we see Paz Vizsla next to the Razor Crest with the jetpack, and Din is like, I gotta get me one of those. And I mean, it just sets up what we already know. Like, Din is going to get a jetpack, and of course that will give him a lot more freedom, a lot more abilities as a Mandalorian, which is cool, because a lot of Mandalorians have a jetpack, as we know from the Clone Wars and Rebels. Like, they should have one. So why doesn't Din have one? He gets one, and it's very cool by the time that he gets it. So that's nice. And what's even nicer is the way that the episode ends, because Din actually screws off the little ball and gives it to Grogu, like, here you go, you can have it now. It's so cute. Again, no line of dialogue or whatever, he just gives it, and it's good visual storytelling, and it's a perfect note to end the episode on. And where I was critical of the previous 2 episodes, this episode I love. I really love this episode. It flies by. Everything in this episode is relevant, it's important, and I don't feel like any of it is annoying me in any way. I don't have a problem with the runtime. I don't have a problem with certain references. I think this is a perfect end of the arc, of this little arc. Of course, next week, we'll get there when we get there, but for now, I just want to know, what do you think of this episode? Do you agree with me? Like, is it awesome? Or do you maybe have some criticisms? Please let me know in the comments below what you think of episode 3, The Sin. If you liked the review, then please leave a like on the video and subscribe to my channel for more Star Wars content. And until my next video, may the Force be with you.